On Christmas, I was branded a monster. After my daughter's friend lied about me, my ex spread it online, while my daughter called me disgusting. When the police cleared me and the girl confessed, I took a DNA test that ended 20 years of lies. Hey, Reddit. My ex and I had a one-night thing in college that turned into 20 years of chaos, lies, and a daughter I thought was mine. I tried to be the bigger man, stay responsible, and keep the peace. But then everything exploded one Christmas. Before I get to that, let me start from the beginning. The first snow came early that year, the kind that silences everything except the ghosts that still owe you money. My name's Daniel Reed, 42 years old, ex-Army. These days I run a small private security firm out of a converted warehouse on the edge of town. It pays the bills, keeps my instincts sharp, and leaves me just enough quiet to hear myself think. Mornings are simple. Up at 5, black coffee, 50 push-ups, shower, check client emails. The rhythm never changes. Structure keeps the chaos out. The world spins fine on its own. I just keep my corner steady. The kitchen smelled faintly of roasted beans and cold metal. I poured coffee into a chipped clay mug, a lopsided thing with DAD scratched in the side. My daughter, Madeline, made it when she was 7, before she learned to hate me. I could afford a new one, but I never replaced it. The mug stays because it reminds me I still have a heart, no matter how many times I've had to lock it up. Her mother, Sophia, was the mistake that kept on billing me. We met in our 20s. She was beautiful, clever, and never once told the same story twice. The pregnancy came fast, and she made it clear she expected me to play hero. I did what men like me do, handled the situation, bought the crib, paid the rent, tried to build something out of smoke. She used that sense of duty like a crowbar, prying money and apologies out of me for 2 decades. I never married her. Didn't need a judge to confirm what I already knew, that she'd turn love into leverage. But I stayed in my daughter's life. Madeline deserved that much. 20 years later, I'm still writing checks. College tuition, emergency expenses, whatever Sophia thought she could frame as my responsibility. It's not about the money anymore. It's about finishing what I started. The morning inbox lit up with messages, holiday travel notices from clients, a few retainer renewals, and one subject line that made me pause. Possible rumor, FYI. An old client. He'd attached a screenshot of some vague forum thread about questionable ethics in private security circles. Nothing tied directly to me, but the timing was familiar. Sophia had a way of whispering into the right ears whenever she wanted attention. I deleted it. No point feeding fires that weren't burning yet. Outside, snow thickened over the driveway, quiet and clean. I checked the security cameras out of habit. Empty road. No deliveries, no movement, just the steady hum of a life that finally learned to stay out of trouble. My phone buzzed on the counter. One new message. Madeline. Spending Christmas with you. Clara's coming too. Try not to make it weird. No hello, no question mark. Just an announcement, like she was booking a hotel room. I stared at the text, half amused, half annoyed. Classic Sophia tone, just repackaged in younger skin. Madeline had her mother's confidence and none of her calculation. Last Christmas, she skipped visiting altogether, claiming exams. The year before that, she brought a boyfriend who couldn't make eye contact and spent most of the weekend vaping in my garage. This time, she was bringing Clara, a name I didn't recognize. Probably another one of those social justice friends who thought boundaries were oppression. Still, she was my daughter, or I thought she was. And if she wanted to spend Christmas here, she'd find a house in order. I closed the phone and rinsed my mug. The water ran over the word DAD until the letters blurred. Outside, the snow had turned to fine ice crystals that caught the morning light, sharp as glass. In the living room, the fireplace sat unused, a stack of wood neatly arranged beside it. I hadn't bothered with decorations in years. Holidays meant noise and pretending. I'd rather work, train, or sleep. Still, I considered putting up a small tree, just so she'd have one less thing to complain about. They rolled in later than planned, near dusk. I heard the bass before I saw headlights, the kind of bass that rattles windows and screams, "We don't care who's trying to sleep." When the SUV stopped halfway up the driveway, I was already at the door with a mug of coffee. Madeline jumped out first, phone in hand, recording some road trip vlog for her followers. Clara, her friend, got out next. Tall, stylish, too dressed up for snow. They both laughed like they'd just walked into a party instead of my house. They didn't say hello, just spun around in the headlights, taking selfies. "Inside by 10, I said when they finally noticed me. "I run this house on time." Madeline laughed. "Sure thing, General." "Good," I said, keeping a straight face. I've got inspection at 0900. Clara giggled, unsure if I was serious. Madeline rolled her eyes. You haven't changed. They dragged their luggage in, 2 suitcases each. No. Thanks for having us. No. Merry Christmas. Just snow boots and phone chargers scattered across the floor. I waited until they went upstairs before wiping up the trail of melted ice they left behind. By 7, I started dinner. Roast chicken, vegetables, bread, the basics. I like to cook. It's structured and quiet. By 8, everything was ready. At 8:30, I called up once. No answer. At 8:40, they finally came down. Madeline looked around the living room. No decorations? Not even a tree? You live like a serial killer. I shrugged. A clean house doesn't lie. She laughed. Wow, deep. That should go on your tombstone. Clara smiled politely. I like it. Minimalist. Feels calm. See? I said. Someone gets it. Madeline pointed her fork at me. Don't encourage him, Clara. He's been giving people discipline speeches since I was in diapers. Worked on me, I said. You're still alive, aren't you? She made a face but didn't argue. I'll take that as a win. Halfway through dinner, Clara looked up from her plate. So, you were in the army, right? Did you ever, see action? I nodded. Plenty. Nothing Hollywood-worthy. Just long days, bad coffee, and worse weather. Clara grinned. I think that's Hollywood-worthy. Madeline groaned. God, here we go. He's going to start talking about structure and accountability. Wouldn't dream of it, I said. I'm off duty. That got Clara laughing. Even Madeline cracked a small smile before going back to scrolling on her phone. When dinner was over, I cleared the table while they stayed glued to their screens. They were posting photos of the food, the fire, the wine, hashtagging it #simple Christmas vibes, like they'd discovered minimalism. Phones off after 9, I said. Keeps the house quiet. Clara looked surprised. Madeline laughed. You serious? Mostly. Exceptions made for emergencies or memes worth sharing. That earned a laugh from both. I'll take it. At 9:15, I went to my office to handle an email from a client. When I came back out, they were on the couch watching a Christmas rom-com with the volume way too high. 10 o'clock, I reminded them. Madeline looked up. We just started this. I said 10, I repeated. You can finish it tomorrow. She gave me a look that said she wanted to argue but didn't. She turned off the TV and stood up. You're impossible. Yet strangely effective, I said. Clara smirked as they headed upstairs. I locked up and checked the sensors on the doors. Habit, not paranoia. The house felt still again, the way I liked it. At 10:30, my phone buzzed. FaceTime. Sophia. I answered. Her face filled the screen. Perfect makeup, fake smile, wine glass in hand. Well, look who's pretending to be father of the year, she said. Madeline says your house is depressing. No lights, no tree. How festive. Good evening to you too, I said. Don't good evening me. It's Christmas. You could at least try to make it normal for once. Define normal, I said. Less morgue, more merry, she said, rolling her eyes. Honestly, Daniel, you owe us at least that much after all these years. I owe you exactly nothing, I said, and hung up before she could reply. I stood there for a moment, watching my reflection in the black phone screen. Same expression I've had for years. Half patient, half done. I cleaned the counter where I'd sliced the bread, put the knife away, and poured myself a small glass of bourbon. Outside, the snow was still falling. The world looked calm again. My phone buzzed with a text from my lawyer, Greta. Me. Odds on me surviving Christmas without incident? Greta. Slim. Double it if wine's involved. I smiled and set the phone down. Upstairs, I could hear the girls talking, laughing about something on their phones. Not angry laughter, just normal noise. For a second, it almost sounded like family again. I leaned back in my chair, watching the snow through the window. The fire crackled low, bourbon warm in my hand. It wasn't peace, but it was close enough. Christmas Eve came quiet and cold. The storm had started at sunset, soft at first, then steady. By midnight, the snow was stacked against the porch railings, and the wind had swallowed every sound outside. Inside the house, everything was still. I was in the living room, grinding through another set of push-ups. When the weather gets loud, I run the routine twice. I'd done my rounds, doors locked, sensors armed, fireplace low. The girls had gone upstairs hours earlier. I figured I'd earned a drink and an early night. Halfway through my cool-down, I heard footsteps creak on the stairs. I thought maybe Madeline had forgotten something, but when I looked up, it was Clara. She wore an oversized sweater and socks, hair messy, cheeks flushed. Couldn't sleep? I asked. She smiled, holding a half-empty wine glass. Not really. The storm's kinda loud. Storms don't bother you if you're tired enough, I said, getting to my feet. She leaned against the doorframe, swirling the wine. You really live like this all the time? Quiet house? Everything in order? It works for me, I said. Must get lonely, she said softly. I shrugged. I've had worse company. She laughed, then walked in, standing near the fireplace. You know, you're not like guys my age. I dried my hands with a towel. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, she said. They're all distracted. No focus, no goals. You're different. I kept my tone light. Different's one word for it. She took a small step closer. You don't even try to impress anyone. It's kinda intimidating. Or boring, I said. Not boring. Her voice lowered. Attractive. That word hung in the air for a second longer than it should have. I set the towel down. Clara, I said carefully. You're reading discipline as desire. Wrong language. She looked confused for a second, then laughed it off. I didn't mean anything weird. I just meant, like, confident. You don't care what people think. Confidence isn't a free pass, I said. It's just knowing where not to step. She looked down, fiddling with her glass. I didn't mean to make things awkward. You didn't, I said. You just need to head to bed before you trip over something that can't be fixed in the morning. She hesitated, eyes glassy. You really don't like me? I like you fine, I said gently. But you're my daughter's friend. That makes you off limits, even for compliments. She nodded slowly, embarrassed. I get it. I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry for, I said, softening my tone. Go upstairs, drink some water, sleep it off. She started to say something else, but her voice cracked and she stopped. The silence stretched. Then she nodded, turned, and went back up. I watched her go, waited until the door closed, then exhaled. I didn't feel angry, just tired. It was the kind of moment that could go wrong for anyone if handled carelessly. I was glad it hadn't. The next morning, the house was quiet again. Snow had stopped falling, the world bright and still. I made coffee, started breakfast, and checked the guest rooms. Clara's door was open. The bed was stripped, her bag gone. I found a folded note on the counter. It just said, "Thanks for letting me stay." Madeline came downstairs 10 minutes later, phone in hand, looking irritated. Where's Clara? She left early, I said. Didn't say where she was going. Madeline's jaw tightened. She wouldn't just leave. What did you do? Watch how you phrase that, I said calmly. Her tone sharpened. I knew this was a bad idea. She texted me last night saying you two were talking. What happened? Nothing that requires your tone, I said. She crossed her arms. You scared her off, didn't you? You always do this. You act nice, then you say something that makes people uncomfortable. I leaned on the counter. Madeline, take a breath. Clara was fine when she went upstairs. She probably wanted to get home before the roads iced over. Madeline shook her head and turned away. I don't believe you. You don't have to, I said. But maybe try asking your friend instead of accusing your father. That pushed her over. She stormed out of the kitchen, grabbed her coat, and stepped onto the porch. I heard her voice rise through the cold air, calling Sophia on speaker. Through the kitchen window, I could hear every word. He scared her, Mom. She said he made it weird. Then Sophia's voice, sharp, theatrical, loud enough to cut through the wind. I told you he couldn't be trusted. He's always been like this, hiding behind that military crap. Madeline kept talking, pacing in the snow. I didn't interrupt. When the call ended, she came back inside, slamming the door behind her. She's coming to pick me up, she said flatly. Fine, I said. You know where the bags are. She stomped upstairs, muttering something I couldn't hear. I poured another cup of coffee and sat at the table, staring out at the frozen yard. The air felt heavy but calm. No yelling, no movement, just quiet. I wasn't angry. I knew this kind of thing had momentum once it started rolling. Trying to fight it only made it louder. I took a sip and muttered, mostly to myself, Merry Christmas. Christmas morning was too quiet. Snow still covered everything outside, untouched and blinding. Inside, the air felt heavy, like the house was waiting for bad news. I made coffee, checked the cameras out of habit, and sat down at the table. My phone started buzzing before I took the first sip. It was a post from Clara. Public, dramatic, impossible to miss. I don't feel safe sharing details, but I need to say it. A man I trusted tried to force himself on me last night. I got away before anything happened. If you know me, you know who it is. Please believe me. Last night, she wrote. My porch cam had her walking out at 6:08 a.m. Calm, bags in hand. Those two facts don't live together. No name, but she'd posted pictures of my house all weekend. Our dinner, the living room, the snow outside. People didn't need names. They had context. 5 minutes later, Madeline reposted it. I believe her. Believe women. Her next story said, no one knows what happens behind closed doors. I didn't have to scroll further to know where this was going. Sophia pulled up just before noon. Madeline grabbed her bags and left without a word. The house was mine again, quiet enough to keep the record straight. By lunchtime, Sophia jumped in. My daughter's bravery gives me life. Predators love to hide behind power and discipline. Not this time. She added an old photo of me holding toddler Madeline in my uniform. Tagged me by name. That was the moment rumor became identity. I sat back, phone still buzzing, and let the silence sit. I wasn't panicking. I was cataloging. Notifications poured in. Calls, texts, DMs, voicemails. The kind of noise that feeds itself. Then came an email from a corporate client I'd worked with for 5 years. Daniel, we've seen some posts online. Until this clears, we'll have to suspend our contract. No judgment, just protocol. Protocol. That word always means someone's covering their ass. I didn't reply. I opened my laptop, started a new spreadsheet, and typed timeline across the top. Every message, every call, every text, recorded with timestamps. Clara asking to come for the weekend. Madeline's selfie with me at dinner. The porch camera footage of Clara leaving with her bags at 6:08 a.m. The thanks for letting me stay note she'd left on the counter. I kept it simple. Facts, not feelings. When the list hit 30 lines, I called Greta Shaw, my lawyer. She picked up halfway through the first ring. Let me guess, she said. You woke up canceled. Looks that way, I said. I've already seen the posts, she said. Clara went public enough that a few gossip accounts picked it up. Of course she did. All right, Greta said, shifting into her firm tone. First thing, don't contact anyone. Not Clara, not your daughter, not the ex, not one word. Screenshot everything. You'll thank me later. Already doing it, I said. That's why I don't charge you panic tax, she said. We'll draft statements only if law enforcement reaches out. Until then, you stay quiet. Got it. And Daniel, she added, don't underestimate this. Even false stories stick for a while. I know, I said. That's why I'm writing it all down. By 3, there was a knock at the door. 2 uniformed officers. I already knew why they were there. Mr. Reed? One asked. Yeah. Mind if we come in? We got a report of a possible sexual assault here last night. I stepped aside. You can take the statement here. They declined coffee. I cued the porch cam clip on a tablet and said, I'll export the video and the relevant texts to a drive. You can request the Uber records. Here's everything, I said. Texts from Clara before she arrived. Video of her leaving. She called an Uber at 6:08 a.m. You can confirm that with the company. The younger cop watched the clip while the older one took notes. We'll attach the media and pull the Uber log, he said. Clara's the accuser? He asked. Apparently, I said. You two have any prior relationship? She's my daughter's friend. Stayed the weekend, that's all. The younger cop nodded slowly. Looks like she left calm. No sign of distress. Exactly, I said. They exchanged a glance. The older one set his coffee down. We still have to write a report. But between you and me, this doesn't look like what she's describing online. Appreciate you doing your job, I said. He smiled. You'd be surprised how many of these start with social media and end with nothing. They left 20 minutes later, boots crunching through the snow. I watched them go until their car disappeared down the road. Inside, the house felt smaller now. Same walls, different air. I checked the windows, turned off my phone, and headed to the garage. The gym was cold and silent. I grabbed the barbell and started lifting, each rep syncing with my breathing. Up, down, focus. The steel never lies. Halfway through, I noticed the phone vibrating on the workbench. I ignored it and kept going. Sweat burned my eyes, muscles locked in rhythm. The noise outside couldn't touch this. After an hour, I finally looked at the phone. Hundreds of notifications, comments, hashtags, people tagging my name under Clara's post. Even a couple of my old employees asking if I was okay. I turned the phone off completely and tossed it aside. This was how it works now. Someone says a word, the internet builds a mob, and the truth has to crawl uphill just to be heard. I racked the weights, grabbed a towel, and muttered under my breath, "Noise can't touch discipline." Then I reset the timer and went for another round. The barbell felt heavier, but I didn't stop. I wouldn't. The internet could keep screaming. I had work to do. 3 days after Christmas, I woke up to a call from Greta. Her tone was business as usual. "Cease and desist letters are out," she said. "Clara, her parents, and Sophia all got copies. Sit tight." "Good," I said. "Let's see who panics first." It didn't take long. By noon, Sophia was online again, typing like her life depended on it. Now I'm getting threatened by lawyers for speaking the truth. Classic abuser tactics. You can't silence women. Greta texted me a screenshot. Let her scream. It helps my case. Within hours, the tone changed. Sophia's posts slowed, then stopped completely. Someone must have told her we weren't bluffing. At 5 that evening, there was a knock at the door. I checked the camera first. A black Mercedes sat in the driveway. Two well-dressed people stood on the porch. Mid-50s, polished, nervous. Clara's parents. When I opened the door, the man stuck his hand out. Mr. Reed, we need to talk. I stepped aside. Come in. They looked uncomfortable just crossing the threshold. The mother clutched her purse like she was entering a courtroom. Coffee? I asked. They both nodded. I poured 3 cups and set them on the table. No small talk. The father cleared his throat. We got your lawyer's letter this morning. We didn't know any of this was going on. We thought maybe... She didn't tell you? I said. He shook his head. Not a word. We were blindsided. Then we started reading the posts. The dates, the photos, it didn't add up. We called her last night. She wouldn't talk. This morning she finally broke down. The mother's eyes were already red. She admitted she lied, she said quietly. I didn't react. I just waited. The father rubbed his face. Apparently, she told some friends she'd been flirting with you. Bragged about how much attention she got. Someone teased her about it, and instead of admitting she made it up, she panicked. Said you tried something. It spread fast. The mother nodded, tears sliding down her face. We had no idea until your lawyer's letter showed up. We're horrified. We came straight here. I slid my laptop across the table. On the screen was the security footage from my front porch. She left at 6:08 a.m., calm, carrying her bags. No sign of distress. She texted Madeline 15 minutes later about traffic. Also, she left me a note thanking me for letting her stay. They watched the clip in silence. The mother covered her mouth. I'm so sorry. I closed the laptop. You don't owe me an apology, I said. Your daughter does. The father nodded slowly. She's in the car. She wanted to talk to you. Bring her in. He went outside and came back with Clara a minute later. Her hair was a mess, eyes swollen. She couldn't look at me. I didn't say anything. I just waited until she finally spoke. I'm sorry, she said, voice breaking. I lied. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I was just embarrassed. My friends saw pictures from your house and started joking about me having a crush on you. I told them you made a move just to sound, I don't know, special. The mother closed her eyes. The father looked ready to collapse. I leaned forward slightly. Do you understand what that lie costs people? She nodded, crying harder now. Yes. I swear I didn't think it would. That's the problem, I said. You didn't think. You just wanted attention. She sobbed, covering her face with both hands. I gave her a second to breathe, then said quietly, I'm not here to ruin you, Clara. I'm not even angry. But you're lucky I had proof. Next time, someone else won't. She nodded, still crying. I looked at her parents. You fix her. The world's not as forgiving as I am. They both nodded, grateful and ashamed. The father stood first. We'll handle it. You have our word. I walked them to the door. Before leaving, the mother turned back. She's going to make a public apology, she said softly. Make sure she does it right, I said. No half-truths. They drove away quietly, the Mercedes tires crunching over the snow. Inside, I sat down and texted Greta. Clara confessed. Parents apologized in person. Perfect. We'll document it. Cease and desist stands. An hour later, Sophia went nuclear online again. He's sending threats now. Legal letters. Trying to silence a mother defending her child. Greta called me 10 minutes later. Your ex is trying to relaunch her circus. I'm sending her one last warning. After that, we file for defamation. Send it, I said. By the next morning, Sophia's posts were gone. Not deleted, wiped. Her entire account disappeared. Greta texted, told her next word costs her. She listened. For the first time in a week, I exhaled. Not victory, just release. I still lost one major contract that week, the client who'd paused operations. They didn't come back. That was fine. I didn't chase people who lost their nerve. But 2 new ones reached out. Both former military, both said they respected how I'd handled myself. One of them even said, anyone else would have gone ballistic. You just stayed cool. Greta called that afternoon. How's it feel to have your name back? Quiet, I said. Quiet's good, she replied. Quiet means they know not to test you. After I hung up, I sat by the window with a cup of coffee and watched the snow melt off the trees. The house was still. No phone buzzing, no noise. Just quiet. The kind that comes after a storm you didn't start but finished anyway. Later that night, Greta called again. Clara's parents followed through, she said. You should check her feed. I opened my phone. The post was there. Plain white background, black text, no filters. I want to publicly apologize to Daniel Reed. What I said about him was not true. He never hurt me, touched me, or made me feel unsafe. I lied to my friends and panicked when it spread. I take full responsibility for the harm I caused him and his family. The comments section was a mess. Half people demanding she explain more, the other half turning on her. Internet justice doesn't do forgiveness well. Madeline didn't post anything. No apology, no defense, nothing. Just silence. She didn't even text. That part stung more than I expected. Sophia, of course, stayed quiet too. Her social media accounts were still gone, probably on advice from a lawyer who didn't want her to dig herself deeper. For the first time in a long while, my name wasn't being dragged through mud. I should have felt good. Instead, I just felt tired. A week passed after Clara's public apology. My name was finally clear. The noise died down. Clients started calling again. Contracts reopened, and Greta closed the last of the paperwork. The internet had already moved on to something new. But Madeline hadn't called. Not a word. Not even a text. She hadn't liked or commented on Clara's post either. Just silence. Funny thing, being accused of assault by a stranger was easier to stomach than being ignored by my own daughter. Clara's lie was a wound. Madeline's silence felt like salt. I didn't chase it. I just went back to my normal routine. Coffee at 6. Emails. Gym. Calls. The house was quiet, exactly how I liked it. But that quiet hit different now. One morning, Greta called. You're legally clear, she said. How's it feel? Efficient, I said. That's not an emotion, she said. I'm not sure I've got one left. She paused. You're done on paper. Are you done in your head? Not yet. That night I couldn't sleep. The line biological ties from one of Greta's earlier calls echoed in my head. She'd mentioned it while discussing inheritance and next of kin forms. It pulled up old memories. Arguments with Sophia, half-threats she made when she was angry. Things like, you don't even know what's yours. At the time, I thought it was just another jab. Now I wasn't so sure. By morning, I'd decided. I scrolled through my contacts and found Madeline's number. My thumb hovered over the screen before I typed, need to talk. Public place. Just one conversation. She replied an hour later. Fine. Coffee on Main. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. No emoji. No tone. Just transactional. The next afternoon, I got there early. It was a small cafe downtown, busy enough to keep things neutral. When she walked in, she looked older. Tired. Wary. Still beautiful, but sharper now. Thanks for meeting, I said. She crossed her arms. I almost didn't. I know. We sat. I ordered 2 coffees. She didn't touch hers. Before you get defensive, I said, I'm not here to fight or fix anything. I just want to ask for one thing. A DNA test. Her jaw tightened. You've got to be kidding me. I'm not. It's not about punishing anyone. I just want to know the truth. She shook her head. You're unbelievable. After everything, now you want to humiliate my mom? This isn't about your mom. It always is with you, she said, voice rising. You can't stand that she moved on. You want proof to rub in her face? Madeline, I said quietly, look at me. She hesitated, then met my eyes. Even if that test says I'm not your father, I said, it doesn't erase what I've done for you. The schools, the bills, the nights I waited for you when you didn't show. I'm not asking for gratitude. I'm asking for the truth. That stopped her. She blinked, unsure how to respond. After a moment, she sighed. You really think she'd lie about something like that? I think she's lied about everything else. She stared at the table for a long time before whispering, Fine, I'll do it, but you pay for it. Deal, I said. We scheduled the appointment the same day. Neutral lab, no drama. The waiting took a week. I didn't dwell on it. I trained, worked, and let Greta handle logistics. The quiet between me and Madeline stayed the same. When the results came, Greta called. You want me to read them? Go ahead. Not a match, she said. 0% probability of paternity. Mr. Reed, she said, you are not the father. I didn't speak for a few seconds. I wanted to smash the table, not from anger, but because it confirmed what a part of me already knew. You okay? Greta asked. Better than fine, I said. That night, I called Sophia. She answered on the 3rd ring. I figured you'd call, she said, her voice sharp. You knew, I said. DNA doesn't define who raised her, she said quickly. No, I said, but it defines who lied. She started to say something, but I hung up. For the first time in 20 years, I didn't owe her a response. The next morning, Greta called again. We can move forward with the paternity fraud suit whenever you're ready. Do it, I said. Going after money? She asked. Closure. That was all. A few days later, I sat alone in my office. The morning sun hit the chipped clay mug on my desk, the one with DAD scratched on the side. I poured my coffee into it, stared at it for a while, then drank it slowly. When the mug was empty, I turned it over in my hand one last time, then dropped it in the trash. It didn't break. It just landed with a dull thud. Fitting. The lawsuit wrapped 6 weeks later. Greta called first thing in the morning. It's done, she said. Judge ruled in your favor. Sophia's on the hook for partial repayment. Not everything, but enough to sting. It's never been about the money, I said. I know, she replied. It's about making sure people like her don't get away with it. She paused before adding, we found out who the real father is. Guy named Greg Harmon, old coworker of hers. They've been in contact for years. I leaned back in my chair. Figures. He's not exactly a prize, Greta continued. Divorced twice. Debt up to his neck. Probably explains why she clung to your wallet instead. Poetic, I said. Thanks, Greta. You've done enough. I'll drink to that, she said, and hung up. I sat there a minute, letting the silence settle. The fight was officially over. The paper trail that started 2 decades ago had finally ended with a judge's signature. My phone buzzed again, this time a long message from Madeline. Dad, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I just found out everything. Mom admitted it. She lied to both of us. I swear I didn't know. I believed her because she's my mom, and I thought you were just being cruel. I'm sorry for everything. For believing Clara, for posting what I did, for not talking to you when you needed me. Can we meet? Please. I read it twice. It didn't sound rehearsed or defensive. It just sounded broken. I waited a full day before replying. Come by tomorrow. Noon. When she showed up, it was like looking at a ghost of the little girl I used to pick up from school. Same eyes, same defiance, but softer now. Hi, she said quietly. Hi, I replied. We sat in the living room. She didn't touch her coffee. She started crying before she could even speak. I don't know what to say. I feel stupid. I believed everything she said about you. About Clara. About the test. You were raised by a good liar, I said. That's not your fault. I should have known better. No, I said. You shouldn't have. You were a kid. You believed your mother. That's what kids do. She wiped her eyes. I'm so sorry for what I said online. I didn't think it would hurt you that much. It didn't, I said. Not compared to losing you. She looked at me, waiting for something. Maybe comfort. Maybe a way back. I forgave you before you even asked, I said. But forgiveness doesn't rebuild what's gone. Her face fell. So that's it? You don't want me in your life? I want you to have a life that's yours. Not built on lies. Not controlled by guilt. That means starting fresh. For both of us. She nodded slowly, crying again. But she didn't argue. I'll send the rest of your things over. Keep them, I said. They're just things. When she left, I didn't feel anger or sadness. Just finality. After that, I spent a week cleaning up what was left of the old life. Closing joint accounts, selling assets, deleting shared contacts. I wanted no more strings, no more reminders. When the paperwork cleared, I sold the house. 20 years of ghosts packed into one moving truck. I bought a small cabin near the mountains. 1 bedroom, 1 fireplace, no neighbors for miles. The first morning there, I woke up to silence so deep it felt earned. Greta called a few days later to check in. How's retirement from drama treating you? Peaceful, I said. You thinking about what's next? Yeah, something useful this time. I ended up volunteering at a veterans mentorship group a few towns over. A handful of guys trying to get back on track. Some just out of service, some out of bad marriages. The first day, one of them asked, "Why are you here?" I said, "To remind people that starting over isn't failure. It's proof you survived." That seemed to land. The months rolled by fast. The house never felt empty, just quiet. I worked, trained, mentored, slept fine. No drama, no noise. Then December came again. It was Christmas Eve, 1 year since everything had fallen apart. I didn't bother with decorations, just strung a single line of white lights around the pine tree outside. It wasn't nostalgia, it was closure. That night, a letter arrived. A letter. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Clara's parents. Mr. Reed, we wanted to thank you for how you handled everything. Clara is in therapy, in school again, and doing better. We can never repay the kindness and restraint you showed our family. Merry Christmas. I read it once, then fed it to the fire. The paper curled, turned black, and vanished. Outside, snow started falling again. soft and steady, the kind that muffles the world. I poured a glass of bourbon and sat by the fire, the warmth humming against the cold. For the first time in years, I didn't feel responsible for anyone else. Not Sophia, not Madeline, not ghosts. I looked at the fading glow in the fireplace and said quietly, "Peace isn't given. It's built, one boundary at a time." Then I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let the silence have me. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.